in the ATL. That's my homeboy. Watch your back if you're gonna walk.
It's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. You don't know 2-point perspective yet? I better show you. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, everyone, let's talk about 2-point perspective. It was a while ago. It was like maybe 3 months ago, right when I first started this channel, that I did 2 videos that were instructionals on perspective. And the first one was very simple. It just talked about the horizon line and what the horizon line is, how to find it, and some interesting facts about the horizon line, such as the horizon line will always appear at the viewer's eye level. So no matter where your eyes are as the viewer or as a camera, the horizon line will always meet your eye line. Bearing that in mind, we did a quick lesson involving 1-point perspective, in which I demonstrated that moving the horizon line up and down on the panel will actually change the perspective of the scene. So the higher the horizon line is, the more you will see the ground, and the lower the horizon line is, the more you will see the sky and things, above the ground. So bearing that in mind, when you're composing a panel, you'll want to figure out what angle or what perspective or what you're trying to say in the panel, and compose or place your horizon line accordingly. So what we're going to do now, by the way, if you haven't already seen the 1-point perspective lesson, please do go back and find it on my channel and review it, because I'm going to proceed as if you know it and have mastered 1-point perspective as we move on to 2-point perspective. Okay, so here's our frame. Let's just say that this is a window, or this is a panel, or this is our canvas right here. Okay, this is our scene, and this outer edge here is the space that we're going to be working on. Now, some people have asked me, they've said, well, Ethan, I'm working on a page, and what happens if, when I'm placing the horizon line, one or both vanishing points actually has to show up off the page? So let's just, first of all right, let's just start here. Let's do a dead center horizon line right here, okay? And let's pull the horizon line off of the panel on either side, like so. Somebody said, well, what happens if my vanishing points are way off the sides of the page? Different people do different things, but I mean, honestly, the most practical thing that I've found to do is just take sheets of typing paper and just tape them to the side of the page, and then continue your horizon line off the side of the page and onto the typing paper, okay? And I've done that my whole career. It works, it's easy, and it's good stuff. It makes it simple. All right, so this is our horizon line. Now, basically, with 2-point perspective, instead of 1-point perspective, with 1-point perspective, there's a point here, and you're kind of looking, well, let's say you're in a room. With 1-point perspective, you're going to be looking at a flat wall, say, like that, and you'll see that the lines are like that. Okay, so that would be like 1-point perspective. 2-point perspective is almost as though you turned your head a little bit and started looking at the corner instead, and that was your focus, was this corner rather than this wall, okay? So let's get rid of this, and let's talk about how we can accomplish that. We've got 2 points here. We can put one on this side and one on this side, wherever you choose to put them. Now, you want to think of this horizon line at this point like it's a string, okay? You're holding a string right now. Imagine that I'm holding it between my 2 fingers. Now, if I pull it this way, the other hand is going to go, okay? So it's the same kind of distance, it's the same kind of length, which is arbitrary. You can make it up. You can invent how long the string is, okay? That's fine. But in other words, to move your perspective from corner to corner, If you bring one vanishing point in, the other vanishing point is necessarily going to fall back the other way. Now, if you put 2 points too close together, it's going to look very skewed and very weird. And feel free to try it. I mean, you should experiment and see what happens. You'll quickly learn that to create a realistic scene, that's not what you're going to want to do. 2-point perspective is for creating very naturalistic backgrounds. It really isn't, 2-point perspective is rarely exciting, although I will show you a way to make it exciting. It's for creating very ordinary and believable backgrounds, okay, with not a lot of action in them. But it's very useful. So let's decide that we're going to put one vanishing point right here, and that's going to be pretty close in. So we're going to take the other vanishing point, we're going to put it right all the way back here. So this is further than this one is. And really, you could have gone either way. I mean, you could have at this point just done this or this or this or this, whatever, however you want to make it work. You could even do this, okay, if you want to. You could, see what happens. All right, so the other thing I wanted to tell you about perspective, and this will help you to kind of understand it, is that when you're in a three-dimensional space, I mean, just think of your three-dimensional space as one of these classic 3D boxes that you've drawn so many times as a child. So you've got 3 different directions here, okay? You've got up and down, like this way, and you've got horizontal, and then you've got these lines right here that kind of fade. These are your kind of perspective. So this would actually be a 1-point perspective sphere, or cube here. With 2-point perspective, you are turning the cube around a little bit, and you are going to, instead of just worrying about these lines receding off into the background, you're going to do this, and you're going to also think that these lines, your horizontal lines, are also going to recede off into one area, all right? So, but these will still remain up and down. Now, 3-point perspective, these will be parallel to each other, I should say. When you get to 3-point perspective, you're going to make these recede to a vanishing point as well, and then you'll have a very interesting looking cube shape, okay, once you learn 3-point perspective. So you want to think about, when you're looking in a room, you'll think about these 3 directions. You're thinking about up and down, you're thinking about horizontal, and you're thinking about these lines that recede, these lines that are recessive. All right, so 2-point perspective, we are doing both sides here. And we're going to want to go ahead, and by putting our ruler on the vanishing point, we're going to go ahead and make a nice perspective grid. Okay, like so. And you'll see that at some point, when you're fanning these lines out, it's going to meet the horizon. That's good. Then just keep going under. Look at that. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll do these ones as well. Okay, now, before we move on from here, let's just go ahead and do this. Remember how I told you to get these plastic rulers at Michael's because they're transparent? It's perfect for doing perspective because you can see the lines through the ruler, and you can actually just make sure that your vertical lines are perfectly perpendicular with the horizon. Okay, so we do that, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw parallel lines that are vertical. You're going to hear Ava in the background, and maybe Andrea. They're watching TV. Okay, so we've got this, and let's go ahead and let's do the same thing. Let's fan out these lines from this other vanishing point here on the other side, the one that's a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. All right. Now, I do want you to remember, I mean, you can put these vanishing points, as long as they're on either end of the horizon line, you can put them as far out as you want. You'll see different results. You're going to learn really quickly as you practice this and as you utilize it in your own work, what looks good and what doesn't, and how to where to place these vanishing points to create the effect that you're looking for. All right, so now look at that. There's our 2-point perspective grid with a horizon line going right down the middle, and two modestly placed vanishing points, one slightly closer to our frame and one slightly further outside of our frame. And you can already see, hopefully, the incredibly awesome optical illusion here. If you look very carefully, you can see inside of a room. You can see a building with the corner sticking out this way. Let's just kind of pencil that kind of a shape in there just for our edification. So you can actually see a building sticking out like that, or you could actually go ahead and make it the inside of a room, like so. All right. Let's actually bring this in a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and we'll make this line and this line and this line. Now, rules of the horizon line still apply. In other words, this horizon line is our line of sight. So if we are standing in this room, if we are now, not other characters that we're looking at, but just from our perspective, our head is right here, here's our eye, and then here is our shoulders and arms, etc., etc. That's where we would be in this space that we have created here with a window, and so on and so forth. Okay, and maybe this is another kind of hallway going down, who knows. This is the ceiling with recessed lighting. Just to show you, you can sketch absolutely anything into this that you want to using this perspective grid, okay? As long as you just bear in mind the horizon line and the relationship with everything to it. So in other words, if this is where a person's standing, if that's where their eye line is, further away, here's another guy too. It's going to cut him right through the eye along the same spot. So here he is standing here. Okay, he's in perfect relation to this gentleman right here. And then other objects in the room are also going to fall in relation to how tall these gentlemen are in the room. So a table is going to be maybe up to here on him, right? On this guy. So we would go ahead and just sort of sketch in a nice little table shape. Like so. And we know pretty much that this table is in perspective with everyone else in the room. The window might be a little high. We might bring the window down a little bit so this guy can actually look out dead center of the window. So that is 2-point perspective. Now, just like 1-point perspective, raising or lowering the horizon line is going to give you different effects. Now, if you lower the horizon line, should we do it again? We might want to just do this again so I can show you. And then I want to show you a way to do 2-point perspective that is kind of fake 3-point perspective and is very, very exciting. I use it all the time when I draw a cover or a splash page. All right, so if we lower the horizon line, and again, feel free to skew it either way. It doesn't have to be completely parallel with the box in any way in your frame. But now let's do it. Let's skew it this way and keep it low. All right, let's draw a horizon line. And this time, let's make this in real close like that, and this real far away. Let's find our vertical lines right here. Okay. And there they are. And then let's go ahead and fan out these lines off of our vanishing point. It's very easy to do. I would do it in blue, non-photo blue pencil if you have it. And I recommend that you do get non-photo blue pencil for drawing your perspective grids. I think you'll be very, very happy that you did. Then you can draw, like using the blue pencil as guideline, you can use this to actually pencil in elements of the buildings or the room or whatever else. You can pencil in over top of the blue and use the blue as just a simple guideline. That is the best, I think, way to do a perspective grid. Okay, so we're fanning out off of this line that's really close in. Just like so. And as you can see now, look at that, isn't that interesting? Oh, I didn't do the other side yet. This is just 1 point perspective. Oh, yes, I did do it. What am I saying? I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. Okay, so this is the ceiling now. And look at that. We're lying on the floor, kind of. We're low to the ground. And we're looking down a hallway. And here's the door to the hallway. And we're looking down that hallway. And we can see an awful lot of ceiling high above us, can't we? Yeah. And we have a wall right here. Maybe the wall's even higher. Like that's even better. So. But okay, so that's now because the horizon line has been lowered, we're seeing more of what's above us. And similarly, if you were to go ahead and flip this over, and you would have a 2 point perspective grid with a high horizon line, and we'd be seeing a lot more of the ground. So this is Superman, and he's flying in. Look, here he is. He's flying in over the city. And here's some train tracks right here. He's flying in. He's trying to save a speeding train that's flying away. And it's getting away from him. And we have buildings right over here. Train station. We got a tunnel. Who knows? I mean, you can build absolutely anything into these grids. Okay. All right. Now I want to show you the cool trick, which I kind of learned for myself and started using on a regular basis. And this is what I would call fake 3 point perspective, but what it actually is it's 2 point perspective turned on its side. So let's go ahead and just kind of find a horizon line right here. And then let's draw a line, okay, perpendicular with our horizon line from here up to here. Oh, you know what I want to do? I want to change that. I want to take this horizon line and I'm going to put it way down here, okay? At the bottom of the page. That's even better. So let's get rid of this garbage right here. Now, everything here is going to be parallel. All these horizontal lines are going to be parallel. Okay, like so. Okay, got it? Now, we're going to put a nice vanishing point right up here, and we're going to put another nice vanishing point right down here. You see it? Okay? Now, the reason why is because I want to draw a superhero standing over the defeated body of a supervillain, or the other way around. And this is a good way to do it, because we'll be on the ground with the defeated superhero or supervillain looking up at the man or the woman who beat them. So we're going to go ahead and fan off of this nice vanishing point here, like so. This is a great layout for a cover, by the way. This is a great layout for a cover. Because as you'll see, a lot of your layout has to, or should, redirect the eye back up to the title. So here we have, Spider-Man or Superman right here. And we know that all the elements are going to lead the eye up to the logo. So right down here, we're going to, on this little vanishing point, we're going to also just kind of fan out. It looks like we're able to kind of make a bunch of little, go all the way through it, like so. All right. Yeah. Now, the reason why this is fake 3 point perspective is because, in all honesty, these lines here represent a vanishing point. Okay, so there should be a vanishing point that's causing these lines to fan out ever so slightly, but it would be way, way, way off the page, okay? And because it's so far off the page, the lines are fanning out so very gradually that it looks like they're not fanning out at all. All right, so this is fake 3-point perspective. And then up here, you've got a vanishing point that's causing all of the vertical lines to recede upwards. And then down here, you've got another point. All right, actually, so right down here, this is the horizon line. You've got another point here that is causing an explosion kind of effect to happen here. So, oh my God, what's going on? Batman is lying on the ground. Look at this. He's lying on the ground and he's defeated. And we're looking up at Bane. Okay? Here's Bane. And he's, got one foot on Batman's chest. And he's got his arms out like so. And he's got his fingers splayed. Maybe he's got fists. Who knows? But his hands look really cool. Lots of veins in him. So there is Bane, and we're looking up at Bane. This is Batman. Here are his eyes. Here's his mouth. Okay. Here's his cape all wrecked, and we're looking up at him. And in the background, we're using our perspective lines to draw buildings, like so. Okay. Look at all these great buildings, or maybe they're in a sewer, and these could be bricks on a sewer wall. Whatever it is, whatever you want to do, the background is completely up to you. But because you know perspective, you have, where everything is going to go, and all you have to do now is use your imagination and a little bit of pencil lead and make it happen for yourself. So this is what I call sideways 2-point perspective that is actually fake 3-point perspective. And I think if you remember, horizon line down low, or you can have it up high and flip it the other way around if you want. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, yeah, look how cool. Now we're sinking down into a pit here, aren't we? We're looking down at some buildings or something like that. You can flip it either way, but I really like this just for this one idea of like a conquering, or somebody having been conquered and a hero standing above him, or a villain standing above him. So there you go. I mean, there's 2-point perspective, very basically explained. I would love to see you guys go ahead and practice this. Please show me what you do on Twitter, post it on my Twitter. And if you have any questions at all, ask them in the comments below. I will be sure to answer them all. These art lessons are more important than just kind of the normal videos that we do. If you have questions, I consider it my job to answer them and try to explain them to you. And maybe they'll lead to another video. I don't know. But yeah, absolutely show me what you're doing. Please click like on this video. Please share this video. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That is all I need for your support. Also, down in the, what is it called? Description below, you will see a link to go buy autographed comic books if that's what you would like. That's my merchandise. It'll take you to my eBay store, and you can go ahead and buy some signed comics, and we'll send them out to you. All right, thanks very much. See you later.